Ladies and gentlemen, this particular story comes out of a place called Harlem, okay? And we've done a few stories out of Harlem. This story is very unique in its own way, but let me go ahead and tell y'all this story. There was a 10-year-old boy, and this 10-year-old boy has died from horrific injuries that included, and I want to brace you, I want to forewarn you, it's going to be a little bit difficult to hear this, but nothing is more difficult than what these kids have to actually live through, okay? This 10-year-old boy suffered horrific injuries that included a lacerated spleen, a lacerated liver, a lacerated kidney, rib fractures on both sides of his body, and bruising between his toes that prosecutors say were inflicted by his stepfather. That was a lot to unpack right there, but let's talk about this simple title, stepfather. I think we give out titles too easily. I don't know how many of you guys understand where I'm coming from, but I think titles like queen, titles like stepfather, stepmom, you know what I'm saying? I think titles and words are very important, okay? And I think that too many times, and I need to give a shout out to Tommy, by the way, because he made me think about this, especially with that queen title, okay? And y'all know what I'm talking about. But when it comes to just giving out titles, I think we give people titles that they have not earned. They have not earned these titles. One of those things when it comes to being a stepfather, as far as I'm concerned, the dude who hurt this boy that y'all see on my screen, who we're getting ready to talk about with that amazing smile right there, who looked like he just was on top of the world. And he's actually taking a picture with his biological father. Let me back that up just for a moment, okay? You can't see him. He's kind of cut out. I think I have a picture of the biological father in there. But he's just as happy as can be with his biological father. This boy suffered at the hands of what the media is calling his stepfather, who was not married to the mom. All this man was doing was laying up under the mom because he liked what was in between her legs, and mom liked a man laying on top of her doing all kind of ridiculous things by this thug, at the behest of her own child. Mom was more concerned about her own pleasures in this case, and it's not all, and it don't apply to all women, and I think most smart women understand that it ain't all, but it's too freaking many, okay? Shout out to the good ladies in my chat. I know it's people out there understand where I'm coming from, but it's too many of these stories in these situations, and some of y'all got some friends that y'all know them dudes ain't worth 2 pennies scraped up off the sidewalk. What are these dudes doing in their own lives in the community? Well, let me tell you guys, it's a little bit of an interesting story, and maybe I'm kind of jumping the gun in this story, but I'm going to tell y'all, this dude is a nobody. He's nothing, and what he did to this boy was absolutely, this man deserves the ultimate penalty under law. Let me say that. Let me give y'all some more details. The little boy's name is Aiden Wolf, right there with his biological father. That boy was just 10 years old when he died this past Saturday afternoon. And his so-called stepfather, this dude who was such a big man, to beat the absolute dog shit out of a kid, but can't even raise his head to face the media and face the people filming him to show who it is that did this horrific thing to that innocent boy. You notice in most of the pictures you see, he walking with his head down, just like a punk does. So let me get his face, part of his face back up here. His name is Ryan, R-Y-A-N, Cato, C-A-T-O. He's 34 years old. He's already been arrested for the death of this kid. Now, police responded to a call to the boy's home in central Harlem, where they found the 10-year-old boy Aiden barely breathing, having fallen unconscious at the family's 4th floor apartment in the St. Nicholas houses, which you guys can see right there. An attempt to revive him with water failed to ruse the youngster. He was taken to Harlem Hospital, where he died shortly afterwards. On Monday, Cato's Cato on Monday, Cato, the boy's mom's boyfriend. I hate that they say that. Let me restate it. On Monday, Cato, mama's boyfriend, was awaiting arraignment on murder charges in Manhattan criminal court. Cato was dating Aiden's mother, according to the New York Daily News. Police Commissioner Dermot Shea said Aiden's death was a horrific case. The boy's injuries saw extensive bruising to his face, the extremities, and all over this boy's body, according to Chief of Detectives Rodney Harrison. Some injuries were old, but others were recent. So I want you guys to understand that this has been going on for a long amount of time. I want to see, and I'm waiting for somebody to post it in the chat. I haven't seen anybody do it yet. I'm wondering if anybody sees where I'm going with this story. I'm going to read that again. I'm going to read it again. The police said some of the boys' injuries were old, but other injuries were recent. Does anybody understand what I'm getting ready to say? The complaint involved in the city's child welfare agency and concerned alleged child neglect. The news found that Cato has a history of domestic violent arrest. We'll read it again. For all of y'all who keep saying that I'm the problem for just giving my opinion about this story. They said that mom's boyfriend has a history of domestic violence. Thank you. Thank you, Dre the Dream, Jody and Lynn, and a few other people. The mother had to have known that this was going on. Either she witnessed it, participated in it, didn't say anything, and just didn't give a shit. And I told you guys, when this type of thing happens, I believe that whomever is the other person that was around needs to be arrested and should serve at least half the amount of time that the perpetrator does. That's not a law that's on the books, I don't believe. But I definitely think that mom needs to be held accountable. Do y'all agree or do y'all disagree? Dre said she allowed it. I believe so. Absolutely. How do you not notice that a 10-year-old boy has that level of damage to his body that was old and brand new and you didn't know a thing? This boy was beaten to death over time. And apparently, mom either neglected to do a background check. Like I always tell you guys, do a damn background check. If you're going to bring somebody around your kids, if you're going to even sleep with somebody, even for just sexual pleasure, why would you not do a background check? Why would you not know, especially to my sisters, my ladies, why would y'all not want to know at least the history of someone if you're willing to let that person inside your body and potentially procreate with that person? You just don't want to know nothing about him? Really? I don't just let, even as a man, I don't just let just any and all chicks just come up in my house, my apartment. No, none of that. Like why are we not vetting? Everybody's got the internet on their phone, tablet, computer, on their damn, what do you call them things? Their Amazon Echoes or whatever you call those damn things. We have all the technology in the world to find out what a person's criminal history is. It doesn't mean that they're always a bad person. I'm not saying that. But what it does do is it creates accountability on your part so that you know, okay, this is what his tendency is. This is what he's been arrested for. And if somebody like this dude that y'all saw on my screen, let's go back. We'll talk about that GoFundMe here in a minute. That guy right there has multiple domestic violence arrests. Then maybe you shouldn't bring him around your kid. Let's continue. Many who lived in the St. Nicholas houses said that they heard about domestic problems involving the family. From the information I have, people knew the family had been through trauma and in a bad situation. Sheba Simpson said, who was a neighbor and a candidate for the NYC Council. Where are the services and resources that would have mitigated this murder? In December, mom's boyfriend, Cato, was arrested after allegedly choking the mother of his own kids in front of their two children inside their apartment in Williamsburg, Brooklyn. On that occasion, Cato was charged with assault, menacing, and 2 counts of endangering the welfare of children. Cato is alleged to have hit the children's mother in the face several times before putting his hands around her neck and applying pressure. Cato was also charged in February with assaulting the driver of a yellow school bus in Brooklyn. A woman who claimed to be the cousin of Aiden said the little boy was super smart and super intelligent and wanted to become a professional YouTube gamer. He was very technologically savvy, well-mannered, said the woman who identified herself only as Jennifer A. to the New York Times. I'm not sure if Jennifer A. is the mother or not, but we will talk about that GoFundMe here in just a moment. But Jennifer said Aiden was his mother's only, Jennifer said Aiden was his mother's only child and that she doted on him. They were always together, she said. She said Aiden's mother had survived brain cancer as a teenager and that it left her disabled. She was very protective of him. She was a good mom, Jennifer said. I don't understand what went wrong. I never seen a bruise, a fracture, or anything on him. She added, saying that she had never noticed any signs of abuse. It's not her job, Jennifer A., to see the abuse. If she saw it, then that's one thing. It was the biological mother's responsibility to see that abuse and stop it, and she did not. Regardless, she was the one who allowed this thug into her home, into her house, into her body, around her son, which all could have been prevented. As a matter of fact, let me go a step further and let me offend some more of your sensibilities. I'm going to offend some more of y'all sensibilities. If the mother was that disabled that she couldn't prevent this type of thing from happening, then maybe mom did not need a boyfriend. Did y'all catch that? Did some of y'all just get mad? Did some of y'all just unsubscribe? Or some of y'all gonna go flaggy my channel? I bet that probably pissed some of y'all off when DJ Just Jay said that if this mother was that disabled, then maybe she shouldn't have had a boyfriend. Maybe all of her focus should have been to focus on taking care of herself and her son. How about that? Huh? Where's the catch me outside girl when you need her? Let's talk about one more thing. Since we're talking about Jennifer A., and y'all already know that they had a GoFundMe put up. Because why have life insurance? Why be responsible for your own children and your own family when all you got to do is just wait for a sad story to happen and pluck on the heartstrings of Americans who feel sorry about your unfortunate circumstance? As you guys can see here, a person named Jennifer A. created a GoFundMe page for $15,000. Do y'all see this shirt that I have on? If you can't see that, this shirt says #babies for benefits. Because it seems like the only time that we get GoFundMes put up is for somebody else to benefit off of the death of these children, as opposed to making sure that these children have a successful life while they're here. We put them in the worst positions, put them around the worst boyfriend, have them living in the worst housing additions, but then we're going to go all out when he's dead. How does that even make any damn sense? $15,000 that they're going to collect off of the death of this baby boy who cannot speak for himself nor defend himself against mom's boyfriend, which was her choice to have him in her house. I'm sure he didn't just kick in the door and said, hey, I'm here. Don't work that way. Let me give you guys the fair usage. Let's start with our first video. Let's get it. Federal law allows citizens to reproduce, distribute, or exhibit portions of copyrighted motion pictures, videotapes, or video discs under certain circumstances without the authorization of the copyright holder. This is called fair use and is allowed for purposes of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody, which doesn't infringe of copyright under 17 U.S.C. 107. All right, let's get it.
We begin tonight with breaking news in Harlem. Police have made an arrest in the death of a 10-year-old boy. Aiden Wolf's stepfather has been charged with murder as an outraged community speaks out. CBS 2's Nick Calloway live tonight in Harlem with the details. Nick.
Yeah, the boy's stepfather did not say a word tonight to reporters as he was walked out of the 3-2 precinct in handcuffs. He's accused of killing that little boy inside the family's apartment. Outside this St. Nicholas Houses apartment building on 131st Street, a small memorial pays tribute to the young life taken too soon. 4 floors up, police still stand guard outside apartment 4F, where 10-year-old Aiden Wolf was found Saturday afternoon. Sources say he was covered in bruises and cuts, some new, some old. His stepfather, 34-year-old Ryan Cato, was charged with murder and endangering the welfare of a child.
It's a tragedy through and through.
Destiny Rogers lives down the hall. Hours before police were called to the apartment, she heard what sounded like sporadic shouting. She was wearing headphones, so she didn't know which apartment it was coming from.
Just raised my headphone really quickly, but I didn't hear anything that was alarming to me that would draw me to start worrying. Nothing at all. So, called the elevator and I just walked out.
We commit. We commit. We commit. We commit to not give up on our young. To not give up on our young.
Saturday afternoon, advocates rallied outside the apartment building to pray for the little boy and stand against violence. The head of the St. Nicholas Houses Tenants Association says it's up to neighbors to look after each other and prevent tragedies like this one.
These walls are thin enough to where you can hear a child being beaten. Yes. You know what? You think it's not your business, but when it's tragically winds up on the news, it is your business.
Some neighbors on the 4th floor are still shaken by the little boy's death. Rogers says she could barely sleep last night knowing what happened just down the hall.
I never would have thought that something like that would hit close to home because it seems like it's from a movie. It's disgusting. It's just disgusting.
Police sources tell us the boy's mother was also being questioned by police in this case, but so far no charges against her. Reporting live in Harlem, Nick Calloway, CBS 2 News.
Memorial candles lining the sidewalk that lead to a family's apartment where a 10-year-old boy died, found beaten and terribly wounded on the living room floor. Now his 34-year-old stepfather, Ryan Cato, charged by the police with his death. His mother, too, questioned by officers, even as neighbors rallied for more support to prevent domestic violence.
From the information that I have, this family has been in trauma and has had situations before. And so my question is, where were the resources and services that could have mitigated this murder?
Somebody knew something was wrong and didn't say anything.
Police sources confirming the boy had cuts, bruises, and puncture wounds to his body. His stepfather charged with murder and endangering the welfare of a child as the police and Child Protective Services investigate.
He went to school with one of my grandchildren, and it's just like he's mine, you know. It's just devastating.
And Child Protective Services did release a statement to Pix 11 News saying that children's safety is their top priority, that they will continue to work with the NYPD on this investigation. The medical examiner also working to establish a cause of death of this 10-year-old boy. We are reporting live this morning from Harlem. I'm Kirsten Cole, Pix 11.
I'm sorry, I know the volume on that last video wasn't that loud, but let me say this, because let me address the woman who had the headphones on, so allegedly had headphones on and heard all that screaming and hollering and all of that stuff. She heard something and realized that something was wrong, and she did not say anything. She heard something was wrong and didn't say anything. And I'm not going to put too much blame on her because, like I say, this starts with the biological mother, biological father, and the people who we choose to date. That's where the problem starts, okay? But I'm just calling people to be just a little bit more aware. So I don't want to get on to the neighbor too much, but I do want to say that whatever she heard, if she would have called the police, called the authorities, and not be afraid to be called a snitch, it could have potentially saved this boy's life, which is why it's important when y'all hear those type of things. It'd be better to call and be wrong than to not call like we just talked about. And it cost a child their life. The least we could do is make a phone call. And that was the lady right there. And again, I mean no disrespect to her at all. But like I say, that might have just, we use these as cautionary tales. This is just a situation where we can look at it and say, we might have been able to save a life if we would have done something different. Okay? So hopefully everybody understands where I'm coming from. Let me say this next thing about that GoFundMe, because I know not everybody's going to get where I'm coming from. Why are we so, and people actually, I don't know if y'all noticed or not, I've had people in my comments section in some of my videos and ask me, are you the GoFundMe police, DJ Just Jay? And I actually responded to them and I said, well, yeah, I can be. I don't mind being called the GoFundMe police. I really don't mind. Because I think it is outright disgusting. It is disgusting to watch children die and people put up GoFundMes and they collect tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars off of the deaths of these children. When number one, we won't do something as simple as go to GerberLife.com and get life insurance, which is extremely cheap. The earlier you do it, the cheaper it is. And it's never too late to get life insurance. Let me say that again. It don't mean everybody will qualify, but it's never too late to try to get life insurance. Okay? But why are we so quick to help the dead over the living? I don't know if you guys have ever really thought about it like that, but this has been bothering me sometime ever since I've been talking about these GoFundMes. It's like as soon as the GoFundMe is put up, boom, $15,000, boom, $25,000 in 3.5 hours. Didn't take long at all. A GoFundMe goes up, we go support it blindly, regardless of who put it up, which is why you have so many fraudulent GoFundMes out there, which is why family members have to come out on their personal social media pages and they have to say stuff like, no, the actual official GoFundMe is on our page and those other ones are phony. Those other ones are from our cousins. We don't even know those cousins, right? Because people have become so accustomed to just, you feel like you're going to make the world a better place by just throwing money at a problem. And that is just not how the world works. That's not how life works. Why don't we make an investment in our children, which is exactly what life insurance is? We won't put up money. Matter of fact, we won't put up money for a college fund. We won't put up money for a class high school ring for graduation, for a letter jacket, for books, for good clothes throughout the year. We will spend our money on some of the most ridiculous things, and our children won't even have something as simple as a meal to come home to. Even with all the Section 8, food stamps, child support, and all of that stuff out there, there should never be a child that goes hungry out there in this world. They're using, I just, like I say, it's my personal opinion that I just believe that GoFundMe can be a great thing, but I just believe that too many people are abusing it, and it really bothers me to my core. This is not, like GoFundMe does not supplement his life insurance, but that's what they've turned it into. I'd love to see more people opening up GoFundMes for college funds than burial funds. We're gonna have to use that. I'm gonna say it again. I would rather see people use GoFundMe for college funds than burial funds. And again, I will say this about the biological mother. I believe that she knew exactly what was going on. She ignored it because she wanted to be with that man. And maybe if the mom is disabled, maybe she has some disability that maybe the type of men that she wasn't able to get them. So this was the only thug in the thug zoo that would actually go play with her. Mom went to go play with the thug lion at the thug zoo, left her kid in the thug lion cage, and guess what happened? This child suffered abuse over time. It wasn't sudden, it was over time, and for that, I think everybody who allowed it to happen needs to be arrested, charged, and do plenty of prison time. Not exactly sure what just happened. Now, give me a moment. The chat just stopped. What the hell just happened? Again, I think it's really sad that, we're so willing and so quick to help the ones that have passed away as opposed to, those people who are living. And I'd much rather see GoFundMe's put up for, people to go to college as opposed for burials. We should have more college funds than burial funds. And again, to the biological father, I can't verify whether he is a good father or not, but I want to give him a shout out. And it seemed like his kid was very happy with him. It really is so sad that he was going through what he was going through. And, and I believe that the boy might have been better served by being with his biological father in this particular situation. And like I say, it's just really sad. I don't know if I said something that got my stream kicked off. I don't know what just happened, but nonetheless, I want to kind of end it there. And I want to say to this boy, let me again put some respect on his name. His name is Aiden Wolf, who was 10 years old. Let me get a good picture of him up here. Aiden Wolf, 10 years old, young prince, R.I.P. I'm DJ Just Jay with the AMC, where we're going to continue to keep giving these babies a voice because they deserve it, okay? Thank you guys so much.